So I just started my college classes at a community college next to my house, and I'm doing a dual credit class. I'm taking a class in US history, and honestly, it's kind of interesting. I mean, I've always liked history, but I never really found myself interested in American history in particular. I didn't really think we'd had anything super interesting happen, but I was wrong. But I did confirm one thing, and that is that America will always be a jerk face. I mean, we are pretty jerky now, but back then, ooh, yikes. It was way more jerky than I would have anticipated. But, yeah. I guess all countries have their own share of jerks and stuff, but America is definitely up there as one of the top jerks. Always trying to muddle our way into other countries' affairs, taking over certain islands and certain land masses, sometimes without the original country's permission. But that's the American dream, right? Just taking people's shit, not apologizing for it. Because we're Americans, we don't apologize for anything. But I was in class though. My teacher was talking about it, and I was like, wow, that's really, and we learned a lot about Teddy Roosevelt and how he established a treaty. I think it was the Treaty of Kagehama or something like that. My journal is somewhere. I'm too lazy to get it out. Wait, let me. I don't want to be wrong, so I'm gonna look it up real quick. Treaty of Kanagawa. That's what it was. Kanagawa. Wow. And he was given a Nobel Peace Prize for it. And he's one of the only presidents to ever get it. The second one was President Obama. And it was for making the world a better place, but then you realize that Obama dropped the most bombs out of any presidency, which is kind of sad because we all loved Obama, but no one's perfect. None of our presidents are perfect. Our current one, well, we got a lot to say about him, but sometimes I sometimes find myself being scared of living in this country. Mostly because, well, I am who I am. I'm a Muslim Indian girl. My skin is brown. I wear the hijab. And I'm very vocal about how I feel about our current political standing, and I'm worried people wouldn't like me. But then I realized, why would I care about what people think about me? Who cares? I do what I want, man. That's how it always should be. You shouldn't let other people dictate your life. You shouldn't let other people decide what you want to do. You should just do what you want to do, and don't let other people get in the way of it. I learned that kind of the hard way. What I mean by I learned it the hard way was that I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life until I hit 7th grade. I really wanted to do something with my life. I didn't know what it would be exactly, but I had some thoughts of what I wanted to do. And it was mostly influenced by a class I took. It was a video editing class, and in that class I learned how to create videos. I learned how to create videos, and learn different video editing techniques and how to navigate Final Cut Pro, which is the program I used for that class. Nowadays I use Sony Vegas Pro because I have a PC and PC doesn't support Final Cut, but Sony Vegas works pretty well. At the time I was like, oh, I really like what I'm doing here, maybe I should look more into it and see if I can make this a career. That was part of how I decided what I wanted to do. The other part was when I took a theater class in 7th and 8th grade. And that's when I truly discovered my love for creating stories and bringing them to life. Whether it be on stage or in a video, I just loved writing stories and bringing them to life. So one day I go to my parents and I'm like, hey mom and dad, I want to be a screenwriter or director in the future. And at first they were obviously like, what are you talking about? You want to be a movie person? And I'm like, yeah, something wrong with that? And they're like, oh, well, it's not really something that can guarantee success. You know, that's something, I think that's something a lot of parents are afraid of. You know, they want their kid to be happy, but they want them to be financially stable at the same time. And usually jobs like being a doctor or being a lawyer or an engineer usually guarantees you that you'll have a steady income, and like going to like a film school isn't going to guarantee you that. But it's what I love, you know, and I'm not going to do something I hate for the rest of my life, you know? Like, I have so much respect for doctors and lawyers and engineers and all of them, but I just can't do that. It's not for me. And it took a while for my parents to realize that, but I think it all turned out well in the end. They're still very supportive of me. They tell me, you know, as long as you are still, you know, keeping your faith, you know, because I'm Muslim, you know, you keep your faith and you stay on the right path, we will support you. And I was like, okay, fair enough. That sounds pretty easy. Well, I say that, but sometimes being Muslim isn't always easy, you know, because if you grew up in a very strict religious family, you were taught religion in one way. You're taught religion one way different than others. For example, like for me, I was taught to fear God, to fear Allah. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, you know, because God is going to be the one who is going to pass final judgment on you and decide whether you're going to go to hell or heaven or not. Go to hell or heaven or whatever, right? And I always feel guilty because I don't feel like I'm being a good Muslim. I don't feel like I'm pulling my weight or I'm not doing my duties as a Muslim, because sometimes I don't pray, sometimes I forget to pray, sometimes I don't feel like praying, so I don't do it altogether, and I feel bad because I'm supposed to do it, but I just don't feel motivated to, because you know, my family constantly reminds me to pray. It doesn't feel like I'm doing it as a religious duty. It feels like I'm doing it as a chore. You know, like like one time your mom reminds you to do the dishes and you're just like, okay, I'll do it. And then she keeps reminding you, like, do the dishes. And you're like, okay. That's kind of what it's like. Like my family's always on me being like, did you pray? Did you pray? Did you pray? Whatever, right? Did you, like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm doing it. Please stop talking to me. And it gets kind of like, like they have good intentions. I know they have good intentions. It's just they need to learn to like lay off, you know? Again, I love my parents. I love my I live with my grandparents. I love my grandparents. I love my sister. I love my brother. I love everybody in my family, you know? Like I can't, like they've done a lot for me, but sometimes you just gotta understand that you just gotta understand that religion isn't always everything, you know? Like even God teaches us that you shouldn't revolve your life around religion. You should input religion in your life as how you see fit, you know? And if my father heard me say this, he'd probably have my head on a stick, but I am just saying, that's what as I've been getting older, that's what I've been realizing, that you shouldn't force yourself to think the same way you've been taught to think your whole life. You have to go on your own sometimes. You have to figure things out, you know? And I think it's really important to, you know, find your purpose. That's what God has taught. That's what God teaches you, is to find your purpose in life. And I found my purpose. My purpose is to create videos and be happy. And that's all you would ever want, right? That's all you ever want in yourself, is to just be happy. And I think it's important that we, you know, understand that. I can't speak for people who are not Muslim, but if you're like really religious, then you can definitely relate to how I feel. I'm hungry. I just had dinner too. I really should stop being like this. Maybe I should go to sleep now. And I don't really feel like talking anymore. Yeah, I'm just gonna stop now.